Welcome to Legacy and Leadership with David McKean. In my 20 plus years in the business world, I have noticed a common theme amongst all my clients. They're phenomenal leaders who are concerned about leaving a legacy in three main areas: community, family, and financial. So join me as we talk to proven leaders in their fields about their best practices regarding legacy and leadership. Other than experiential and being, it sounds like, naturally gifted in that creativity, is there a process that you follow to do that, or is it just thinking on your own? Is it prayer? What?
Well, I think, underlying everything is walking with the Lord, of course, but I'm a very structured person.
Mm-hmm.
So probably everything I do is structured.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I read a book, I'm not what you call a prancer, where they just kind of write things.
Right.
I have my outline. I
Mm-hmm.
know where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
almost from the outside.
Yeah, I know. I can
Right.
see it.
Right.
A visionary.
Sure.
The same thing, with Driftwood Housing. Same thing with programming.
Yeah.
You kind of like, where does this need to go? Actually, when you're designing code, it's very different today than it was, and that was kind of a frustration to me. But what we would do as the old school programmers, we always start from the end. What's the report going to say?
Mm-hmm.
And then you work backwards from that.
I understand.
You always have that. There's a logistics to everything I do, pretty much. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
it's have a plan and then execute it.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Right.
And I think that's when I've been successful. That's been the model.
Mm-hmm.
Have a plan. I love the statement: have a plan or plan to fail. That's what
Right.
I'm saying.
Yep.
So I'm kind of, my wife drives her nuts because I'm kind of OCD in my planning and everything. So.
Yeah, maybe spend some time talking about what led you to start Driftwood Housing. You alluded to perhaps one element of it earlier, but I'd love to hear the story about that.
Yeah, that was this whole Mobile thing was like my wife has traveled to 35 different countries. Okay. And so when she said, "Why don't you retire and we'll move to Mobile, Alabama, because we found a house here." We were going to move to New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
but it was so crazy expensive, and we didn't want to spend all our money in our house.
Right.
So somebody said, "Well, why don't you check out Mobile?" And I said, "I've been down there a lot, but never really went to Mobile." So we came down, went on the MLS, found a house for $140,000. It had every single thing on our checklist in Midtown, a
Right.
historic district.
Right.
So it captured me right away. And then
Sure.
I sent pictures to my wife, and she said, "Oh, that looks really neat. Better be." And she didn't get to see it, and we bought it. She said, "It better be right." So we moved down here. It was Christmas Eve, actually, and COVID hit.
Mm.
So we were planning to travel all over the world. And that was Dale's plan.
Right.
It's like, good. We're going to retire, buy a affordable house,
Mm-hmm.
and then just blow our money on traveling all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, COVID hit and everything shut down. So we were like, well, my wife and I met dancing, so we love to dance. We kind of got that reputation everywhere we go. So we thought, well, there was this church having jazz on the roof. I thought that was kind of intriguing. Out in the parking lot, they were going to have jazz concert. I thought, well, let's do that. Let's go over there, Central Presbyterian Church, and check it out. And went out there, and sure enough, they're playing jazz, and we're like, oh, this is nice. And we looked up on the wall, and it said food pantry.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought, well, we're not doing anything. We're not going to be able to travel or anything. So we're wearing these silly masks. So let's jump in and help.
Right.
So we served on the food pantry for a couple years. And one day we were walking along the beach, and I picked up a piece of driftwood, and I said, this is just like the homeless people that we're dealing with at the food pantry. And the church had asked me if I would be able to help them with the homeless there, and so we did a number of like the winter, we'd go out and make hot dogs and give out coats and blankets and sleeping bags, stuff like that. And eventually my wife and I just felt like, after the beach experience at Dolphin Island, said, why don't we start a nonprofit? And so she agreed. She said, yeah, I think that'd be great. And, you definitely need something to do. So it was a lot more than I had ever imagined it would be.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot. Not only with the mission we have of housing the homeless, but the whole, not in my neighborhood kind of thing. The Alabama, I love Alabama and I love Mobile, but we're so far behind other states when it comes to housing communities. They've been doing it on the West Coast for decades. So the zoning rules that, even just building a tiny house is like, we finally got approved. We wanted to do the Havens, which my wife and I visited Austin, Texas to visit Community First, which is the largest. They were on 60 Minutes. They have housed 400 people. And these Havens have no plumbing. They're very small and they have no plumbing. And they do communal hygiene facilities with kitchens. And then they build a community around those facilities where people can come out and share and they don't become isolated. They have 400 units like that. And now they're building another 600.
Wow.
But we, in this day, we can't house anybody in something that doesn't have a bathroom. Okay. So we kind of had to put that idea aside and went ahead and just built a regular tiny house with plumbing. But there's a lot of reasons why it works better not to have the bathroom. First of all, anything about construction, or if you rent property, they're going to overflow the toilet. It's going to mess up the floors, the walls. It gets clogged up. Plumbing. Whereas you have a hygiene facility, you have one spot that you have to worry about, and it's usually very industrial, and it can handle a lot of stuff.
Yep.
But when you put an individual toilet in every single unit,
right,
you're just looking for trouble. And that's why most of the communities across the country do not have plumbing in their units. In the pilot, the real popular one, it's like $25,000. There's no plumbing. Okay? And a lot of cities will get them to come in. But my thinking is, why not do workforce development? We can actually train high school students and have them build little tiny houses, and they learn plumbing, they learn electricity. The Home Builders Association is doing that, and they're going to hopefully build one of our units. I'm talking to Robert Collins right now about that. And actually, they've asked the teacher that's building the houses at Chickasaw High School to be the instructor in their academy.
Fantastic.
It's just amazing how that's all opening up. And the city has actually funded that, and they're working with Goodwill Industries. So we're like, okay, this big change now. It's like, go into workforce development and train people over 18 or under 18 how to do all these trades in building and helping the homeless. And so we've got beautiful videos now of the kids raising the petitions. And I'm like, this is it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I especially in a time as a country where many people think that we may have sent too many people to college and we don't have enough skilled tradesmen. Excuse me. And so there's a definite need for that. I mean, depending on who you ask, there are shortages of skilled trades.
That's exactly right.
So,
and it's always like even with me, even though I've been in technology, there were times when I would lead I had fun one time. We took a weekend. And I got all my construction people, even though I wasn't in construction, I got all my construction buddies together and said, let's rip the roof off this house and put a bedroom in upstairs. And I drew up all the plans because I had architectural design in high school.
Okay.
And I submitted them to Roanoke's planning board and said, yeah, this looks good. And they knew what we were doing, so they were kind of a little generous. And so one weekend, we literally tore the roof off, half the roof off, put a big dormer out there, redid the floors, and it was just amazing, just
Yeah.
getting everybody together to do something like that. So
Yeah.
it never hurts, even if it never hurts to have construction skills
Right.
in your back pocket.
Right. Something you mentioned a moment ago that I want to go back to and really understand as a leader how you dealt with this. You said, well, it went by quickly, but you said, well, then you have the mindset of not in my backyard,
Yeah.
right? How, as a leader of this nonprofit, where you're trying to literally house homeless people and be compassionate, have you dealt with that?
Well,
Problem.
I think it's a lot of compromise. I want to be able to do it. The goal is to house people. Okay. So in Semmes, and we've had to make a lot of adjustments. It'll be, first of all, a sober living community.
Okay.
So that's one thing. We're not taking anybody with an active addiction off the street in that community. Probably not ever, really, because we want to try to help people that are willing and able to be independent at some point.
Yep. Yep.
And that's a real hard call. But what I tell people is, like, if you really want to be in our community or in our housing, you need to go into a rehab program.
I understand.
Get those things taken care of first, which is a different philosophy than the government. The government is housing first, get them into a house, then deal with their addiction. Well, that doesn't work not in my neighborhood.
Yep.
People don't want drug addicts moving in, even though I always argue there's probably more drug addicts in the community that we're moving into than it's going to be in our community.
It's just not as out in the open, perhaps
it's within their
noticeable,
walls.
right?
So I always say, I live in Midtown, and I know for sure there's drugs going on all around me.
Right. Right.
So, but you have to compromise. We went and decided to build, tiny houses that are, would work in a neighborhood. But yeah, I think that's the key. And also, we are looking at building a glamping campground. Now that's where we can get around it. Okay. If we do a campground, right. And it's kind of glamping because you got a really nice outdoor kitchen and facilities, and then you got these neat units. They look like tiny houses, but they don't have plumbing. We can do it that way, and there's no limitation to how many you can have if it's a camping area. So I thought, all right, let's go that direction. So it's really just finding a way to work with the powers that everybody's in control, and trying to find a solution. But that's one thing I learned at the Realtors Association. That's so amazing to me, is that you have these small brokers and you have these really large brokers, and they have to come into a meeting and compromise.
Yep.
And find, it's very political, of course.
Sure.
But they find a way to work things out.
Sure.
And that I learned a lot from that. It's like, how to compromise and how to, not just walk away because you're not getting it your way. Just find a way to do it.
Well, it sounds from talking to you that you're just undeterred from your end goal. That your end goal is to literally house homeless people, and you're going to compromise. You're going to keep moving forward. You're going to keep pushing. You're going to keep coming up with ideas to be able to do that. Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. So tell me, how do you receive your funding for this nonprofit?
Well, we are working. This is really neat. We're working with Third Lens. Third Lens is an international nonprofit project management company. They help all people like us do what we're doing, what we want to do all over the world. And they're out of Auburn, Alabama.
Okay.
And so we contracted with them. There's a group that's like us that went to Community First in Austin, Texas. They're an alumni, and they're doing the same thing up north in Huntsville.
Great.
And so they hired Third Lens. So I got a referral from them. So what they are is they're our project manager. And what's really cool is that years ago, somebody gave me a book about Royal Studio, which one is a engineering project of Auburn University, and how they went in to rural Alabama and started getting people out of these shacks and into tiny houses, little houses. I love some of their designs, so I said I'd like to use Dave's house and Buster's house. There are a couple of their design models in our community because our first person we move in isn't homeless. They're actually what we call an intentional neighbor.
Okay.
And they will be in there, and kind of as we move people in, they will make sure that these wraparound services can all take place and that they're taking their medicine or they're going to their doctor's
A coordinator, if you will.
Coordinator. It's like a camp leader, but they'll also have agriculture because we're going to have agriculture in our community. And so, but anyway, so we contract with Third Lens, and so they're helping us go through all the steps of what we need to do next. We need to do this, what we need to do. But we're also meeting with the team that has put together a marketing plan, and so it's a big brochure that says what the need is. It's kind of what I got when I went to Virginia Tech. It's kind of like that. It's a plan. This is our plan.
Yep.
And it's amazing what they're doing. And one of the women on our team is actually part of the Auburn University Engineering Department. She works for that.
Great.
And so she's able to get those plans for us that I wanted. And she's actually working on tweaking some of the stuff now. So it's really, we had to get authorization from Auburn University to use these plans, but they're real excited about us using them. So that's another element. That does all of this in the brochure. The high school's building them. Julien E. Marx Foundation Trust. They're the ones that funded South Alabama's library. These are big groups backing what we're doing. We got our land because a gentleman that was president for the Rotary Club was also on the board of Julien E. Marx Foundation Trust. There's all these connections. And then the funding that we got for Chickasaw High School to build that, we got it from United Bank Charitable Foundation. It gave us $10,000. So it's really just, and we go to a art walk, every week. And that's where I met the vice president. He walked up to me and he said, what are you all doing? And he said, we want to build houses for the homeless. And he says, well, call me. I'll get you hooked up with our foundation. And it just went right through. That's why we go to the little art walk. It's not the dollars that people stick in the two we meet. Another guy said, we've been watching you online. And one week we brought our tiny house down to the little art walk. And he came and walked through it and came out and says, you're going to get a $10,000 check.
That's fantastic.
It's like, that's what I mean. When you keep it simple, it's doable. When you start looking at building these, spending a whole lot of money on stuff, it's just, we can do this. People are individually writing checks for $10,000.
That's fantastic. I want to
find a house.
So I'd like to step back a second, and perhaps this is a more personal question, but throughout our conversation, I've noticed a lot of grit and determination for you, whether it's the company that you're working for goes out of business, or based off your family needs, you doing what it takes. Where does that come from?
The School of Hard Knocks.
Okay. From being forced to.
Well, we all go through, you cannot foresee the things that are going to happen in life. I couldn't foresee my daughter dying. I couldn't foresee this. I had, during the teenagers, I had teenage issues that were very difficult, as a lot of people do. But you don't give up. Now I did reach a point in my life about 11 years ago where too many things were mounting up on me, and I was drinking too much. And so I went through recovery.
Okay.
AA. In Celebrate Recovery, and even in that I became a step study leader. In Celebrate Recovery, and but that changed my life. when finally somebody came up to me and said, "Why don't you go to AA?"
Mm-hmm.
All these years,
Yeah.
Because when you're a businessman and you're able to, go to the airports and have all the free alcohol you can do, and all you're doing is traveling and drinking.
Right.
So I did have a lot of struggles with that.
Sure.
And so going to AA was, really changed my life. So now I'm able to, help people with my pastoral background and my own recovery.
Sure.
I'm able to understand that stuff happens and people get. I have one situation. He wouldn't mind me sharing this, but he lost his mother, and this is what people don't understand about homeless people. Their stories will rip your heart out.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
But his mother died. He was a commercial contractor in Myrtle Beach. He was away. His mother died 3 months earlier. Okay, and so his dad was living with his two sons back in Kentucky. Well, their house burnt down. He lost his dad and his two sons.
That is heartbreaking. Wow. I can't imagine. Yeah.
His house, his tools, his everything.
Wow.
And it just sent him into post-traumatic stress, into homelessness.
I can only imagine.
Drinking and whatever, mostly drinking is straight alcohol, to deaden the pain.
Right.
That's nightmares.
Yeah.
So we're working with him, but they're all like that. They all have stories that are just, I've had hard things.
Sure.
But nothing like, I have a family, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't lose my whole family.
Right.
And so a lot of people, we're helping somebody who just came out of prison, a felon, wonderful guy, just got a job with UPS. That we're helping people get out of this potential, either a potential homeless situation or they're just, so that's what we do. But it's all the stuff I went through in my own life that helps me to help these people. And have patience with them and
I love that.
Coach them. You're really a coach.
I bet.
The sponsor, coach, a pastor. They're all kind of the same thing.
Sure.
People call me pastor now. It's like, okay.
Sure. Yeah. The shoe fits, right? The shoe fits. Yeah. So how can our community help you? Is there a website that we can go to? Do you have a fundraiser? Is it to go to Loda Art Walk? How can we?
Well, we have a website, driftwoodhousing.org.
Okay.
I am going to be doing a presentation at City Council. I know all of them, and they know who Driftwood is. And I talked to the Mayor Spiro the other day. So I'm also at the South Alabama Coalition of Nonprofits. Okay. So they had a reception for all the ones that made it. I've talked to District 2 councilmen. So there's a different kind of a openness now, and it's been growing. Even under Stinson, it's been growing. They started actually a homeless department in the city.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Didn't exist back when I started. So a lot of things have changed, and so I think when we get our fundraising package, we're going to go to the City Council and ask for some money for building these affordable houses. We have a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom that we're building, and the Home Builder Association said they would help us build those too. So I think we've got the backing. We just need the money for getting it done. Yeah. So and these are just houses. They're just small. Sure. 500, 800 square foot house, small houses. Right. Real affordable houses. Yeah.
Fascinating. Well, thank you so much for the work you're doing in our community and to solve this problem and continue to love and care and have compassion on those who truly have gone through some difficult circumstances. Thank you for that. And so I also want to thank you for joining us here at Legacy and Leadership and being generous with your time. So y'all be sure and check out the website and share it where possible on social media so we can continue to get the word out about this great organization. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Legacy and Leadership with David McKean, and you're able to take away at least one nugget that you can implement in your daily life. If you've got questions or ideas for future shows, please feel free to reach out to me. You can call me at 251-648-6461, or you can email me at legacyandleadershipgoal@gmail.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.